Welcome into the DMVStream.com Prep Zone Studios. I'm BJ Koubaroulis, joined by two local media gurus. I've got John Roetman of The Connection here with me and Adam Ayalew from Vantage Hoops. We're going to be talking all about that local basketball talent from Northern Virginia that's going to be joining us in our upcoming event called the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge. It's on April 10th at Marshall High School. It's a set of 2 all-star games as well as a 3-point contest and dunk contest. We're very excited to be joining the crew at Nova Challenge this year. It's now the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge. When we come back, we're talking rosters, players, highlights, and more. But first, we want you to learn more about the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge. We'll be right back. It's the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge, the 3rd annual installment of Northern Virginia's premier All-Star Basketball Showcase event is expanding. This year's April 10th event will welcome the top seniors from Fairfax, Loudoun, Arlington, Prince William, and the city of Alexandria for an action-packed day. In addition to the 2 All-Star games, the area's best public school basketball players will compete in a dunk contest and a 3-point contest. Underclassmen will also have access to a developmental clinic hosted by our friends at Evolution Basketball. Now, not only has this year's event grown from 1 game to 2, but by becoming the title sponsor of this event, DMVStream.com will be providing you, the viewers and fans, the exceptional, state-of-the-art coverage you've come to expect from us. As the Mid-Atlantic's #1 source for live sports broadcasting, well, DMVStream.com, we're going to broadcast this year's event live to computers, tablets, mobile devices, and we'll also make the replays available on demand on the internet, as well as our relationships with local cable television access channels. DMVStream.com produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournament organizations throughout the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBSSports.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, Georgetown University, among others, Synthesis Multimedia Productions and DMVStream.com has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of multimedia. Now, the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge, featuring Nova's premier basketball players on April 10th. You can find out more about that at DMVStream.com and NovaChallenge.com. We'll see you there. Welcome back into this special edition here at the Prep Zone. I'm BJ Koubaroulis. I'm joined in studio by 2 local media gurus. I've got John Roetman of The Connection and Adam Ayalew of Vantage Hoops. Guys, we've already revealed our rosters in our selection show with our coaches, but now we want you guys, the media, to really give us an honest look at some of these players that are going to be playing in this upcoming All-Star game. More than 60 kids on 4 different rosters from around the area. First, we're going to start with the Fairfax North team. And on this team, you see the roster here. John Roetman of The Connection, you are the man about town and covering a lot of these players from a lot of these local teams. I'll read off the roster here, and then we'll pick a few guys to go through. We've got Chase Barron and Blake Francis, Marty Greisky, Hank Johnson, Alex McNaughton, Manny Miller, Tyler Scanlon, Nate Schaefer, Devon Tarpley, Daniel Ungerleider, William Unterkoffler, Tyga Walker, and Tyler White. So that is your Fairfax North roster. So John, obviously a guy that many of us know locally that is a name in this area is Tyler Scanlon of the Westfield Bulldogs. This is a team that went on to win the state championship. Tyler also played on the football team and won a trophy with that team as well. Quite an athlete. John, tell me a little bit about what you got to see out of Tyler this year when you covered him.
Well, the VHSL 6A State Player of the Year is definitely a good place to start. Tyler Scanlon, 6'7", inside-outside threat. Could stick the 3, could post up, could penetrate. He was just an absolute threat from anywhere on the floor. He's going to be heading to Boston University, 5th in the area in scoring, 23.4 points per game. But his talents really shined in the state tournament. That semifinal game against Woodside, 50-50 in the closing seconds. You knew where the ball was going. Scanlon gets it, heads off a pick, and floats a teardrop over 3 Woodside defenders, and it was a thing of beauty. And then in the state championship game against Oscar Smith, lights out from the perimeter, inside, just a fabulous player. like I said, he fifth in the area in scoring, but he was more than just that. He could rebound, pass, take charges. He was a great athlete.
One of our 29 Diner players to watch, Adam, Tyler Scanlon, is a guy that averaged over 20 points a game. What did you see out of him this year that you thought you liked?
I thought Tyler was an integral piece to Doug Ewell's state championship team. He operated a lot on the low block, and they pretty much ran their offense from a variety of places. He did a little stuff out of the pick and roll. He did a great job getting his teammates involved, which was one of the best parts of his game, in my opinion. So Tyler's a great player.
Right, yeah, he's certainly a great player. A lot of great players going to be in this upcoming All-Star event, the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge, April 10th at Marshall High School. The next one we want to talk to you about, John, is Tyga Walker, another player that's just had a phenomenal season. He's one of our 29 Diner players to watch. What should we expect out of him?
Tyga Walker is a 5'10 guard who was the scoring leader on a Madison team who was very vertically challenged. They didn't really have anybody over 6'3", but he was really the heart and soul of this team, as you can see in some of these highlights against Langley. A couple of three-point plays. He was very passionate, averaged 16.4 points per game. He's going to be playing ball at Marymount. And he was just the heart and soul. He really got those guys going. He could penetrate, knock down three-pointers, and that was a Madison team that really improved this year and had a great regular season. Had an unfortunate ending to their season in the conference tournament, but Tyga Walker was a big reason for their regular season success.
Tyga Walker joining our players to watch, our 29 Diner players to watch. You can see here 16.5 points a game, made 20-plus games. That's a pretty impressive stat, and like you said, heading to Marymount University. Another guy that's going to be playing at the next level. We're not quite sure just where yet. Blake Francis, who I believe is on a recruiting trip as we speak, as we tape. He's one of our 29 Diner players to watch. You can see here, gritty, tough guy. John, we'll get back to you in a moment because I know you had a chance to cover this guy quite a bit. But Adam, you also saw quite a bit of the Westfield Bulldogs this year. Blake Francis, how does he strike you?
Blake Francis was a tremendous player this year for Doug Ewell, another integral piece to their state championship. He was first team all-region, second team all-state. He averaged about 20 points a game, which was good enough for second on the team. He really did a great job dictating tempo and helping them control the pace in most of their games. He created offense for himself or his teammates whenever he needed to, but most importantly, down the stretch of games, he always had the hustle play, the charges. He dove for a lot of loose balls, and his determination really came in for them down the stretch. I think he hit 14 of 14 in the state championship game from the foul line.
Big players play big in big games. John, what do you see here off this graphic that really sticks out to you?
The 19.5 points per game, Blake Francis would have been an absolute star on almost any other team in the state of Virginia for public schools. Sometimes got overshadowed by Tyler Scanlon, but he really kept some of the attention away from Tyler Scanlon when it came to opposing defenses, right. And he was Blake was able to take over a game too if he needed to. He rescued Westfield from a potential loss against West Springfield in the region tournament. He could stick the three, he could penetrate, and like Adam said, big hustle player.
Going to be an exciting all-star game to see those two playing on the same roster at April 10th at Marshall High School. Let's change gears here, Adam. You are a man about Loudoun. You know quite a bit about this Loudoun roster. So we're going to go ahead now and reveal our Loudoun roster. I'll read it off real quick, and then we'll jump into a few guys that stand out to us. Zach Burdick, Tommy Caldwell, Kyle Copeland, Anthony Cox, Zach Collins, Kwani Dang, Prakash Ellis, Jamel Howard, Carl Huber, Colin Jakubowski, Jack Malloy, Lucas Martin, and Jaleel Robinson. So that is your Loudoun roster. I want to kind of isolate some of these guys here with you, Adam, and talk about who you think are some of the top players here. I want to sort of start you out with Kyle Copeland. This is a guy everybody's talking about, had a phenomenal season. What did you see out of Kyle Copeland that sticks out to you, one of our 29 Diner players to watch?
Well, the one game I went to this year and saw Kyle play, he played against Stonebridge in January, and he went for 30 points and 8 rebounds. He's really improved on the offensive end. He's a great athlete. He likes to defend, which is pretty much his bread and butter. But he's really improved as a scorer. He averaged over 20 points a game this year. He hit 56 threes, shot over 80% from the foul line, and took over about 100 attempts from the foul line. He's going to Phillips Exeter Academy. which is a prep school. He's a great kid, great academics. He was being touted by a bunch of low major schools, but with another year to develop his body, I think he'll probably be a solid Division I player.
All right, you see here, John, one of our 29 Diner players to watch, Kyle Copeland. What jumps out to you from this graphic?
The rebounding. Sometimes when you get guys who can score 20 points a game, especially knock down threes, they don't want any part of rebounding or defense. So if you can put those three things together and not just be a scorer or a perimeter shooter, you got yourself one heck of a player.
All right, Adam, speaking of guys that are one heck of a player, a name we heard quite a bit this year, Colin Jakubowski. This is a guy, a force to be reckoned with, really. He can beat you so many ways. One of our 29 Diner players to watch. What do you think about Colin?
It's funny that we're talking about two guys that I saw in the same game back in January. Kyle scored 30, but Colin actually was the highest scorer in that game between Stonebridge and Tuscarora. He scored 35. Shot 15 for 21 from the field. He was really good at getting to the basket. He's a strong guard. He's got a downhill type game, but he can also shoot it from the perimeter a little bit. He averaged 16 a game, I think, which was good enough for the first to lead his team. Each of the first 21 games this year, he scored in double figures, so he's been really consistent. He plays lacrosse too. He's a strong kid, and I think he's got a 3.9 GPA. He's getting recruited by Rochester and Gettysburg right now.
Fantastic. What a great season for Colin Jakubowski. Our final player to watch on our Loudoun roster. Obviously, all these guys are players to watch. They're all-stars for crying out loud. But guys that we really want to isolate out and show you a few highlights. Our final one, our 29 Diner players to watch, is Jaleel Robinson. Adam, a force in Loudoun.
Yeah, Jaleel is actually a two-sport athlete for Broad Run. He's committed to Millersville, which is a Division II school, to play football. He's very good defensively. He took a ton of charges, and he led the team in scoring at over 15 points a game. Strong kid, weighs almost 200 pounds, but he's about 6'2", 6'3", really well built. And just look for him to be, one of the more physical and better athletes on the floor.
All right, so John, this is a guy obviously that dominated in Loudoun County. One of our 29 Diner players to watch is Jaleel Robinson. All right, we want to transition now and start to talk about our Fairfax South roster. John, our man about Fairfax. I'll read it real quick and then we'll jump into a couple of guys we want to talk about. Jonathan Adams, Spencer Askew, Matt Ayub, James Butler, Louis Joncom, Tavares James, Jordan Jones, Seamus Maloney, Eric Martin, Dang Neile, Romaine Oakley, Avi Silverman, and Kendall Thompson. So, all right, John. So from this list, I'm gonna pick one out that really stands out to me, and we'll see what you think. But boy, does James Butler have a great presence inside. Incredible product going on to the next level, obviously from a basketball family.
As you mentioned, the basketball family, his sister Natalie plays for the UConn women's basketball team. James really busted his butt over the years to transform himself from a kid who was simply big to a kid who could dominate in the paint. At 6'8", he was more than just one of those big goons that took up space down there. He could score with post moves, he could score with a fadeaway, he could make his free throws if you wanted to hack him. He led the league in scoring at 27.5 points a game, was 6th in rebounding with 276, and he's going to continue his basketball career at the Naval Academy. He really turned himself into a player who could both use his size to his advantage and had some finesse moves as well.
He'll be a force to be dealt with at the next level, and of course, during the All-Star game, I mean, it's just, I love seeing all these guys on the same floor. I mean, that's just what's really exciting about this, to have James Butler play alongside of other great players that, like himself, that have had that great year. They always had to face off against each other. Now you're seeing them in this friendly environment. One of those guys that he's going to get a chance to play alongside of is Dang Neile, who had a great year for Wakefield. We'll start with you, Adam, because I know you had a chance to catch some of this stuff, and especially at the next tournament level when these guys were in the postseason. And he really had a great season. One of our 29 Diner players to watch from Tony Bentley's Wakefield squad.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get with Dang, particularly on the defensive end. He was first team All-Region, and he won Capital Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and he also won the Co-Player of the Year award along with Chase Barron. He averaged just over 13 points a game on a pretty balanced attack. I think they had 4 players average double figures. Right. And defensively, like I said, he's a fearless, long, very versatile guy. He can pretty jump and he can protect the rim. He's really improved offensively and has become a threat on the perimeter. He can shoot the 3 ball and is really effective as a slasher. He's currently, available, so probably one of the better available wings that I can remember in this area.
Yeah, great size. He's one of our 29 Diner players to watch. John, you had a chance to cover Wakefield this year. Tony Bentley's squad always puts teams in the postseason, and this was a big reason why. Dang Niall leading that squad. All right, one of our next players to watch is Louis Joncom, just getting the commitment today, right before we taped, that he would be joining us for this event. What a great player, what a great season, John. What do you see from Louis?
Lewis was a 6'9" power in the paint. As good as James Butler was, Lewis was right up there in terms of his skill as a big man. He changed the way opponents played West Springfield because you had to account for him at both ends of the floor. If you tried to play man defense, he could dominate you with post moves inside. If you tried to zone him, he could get the ball out to their perimeter shooters. Second team All-State selection, he was just a nuisance and somebody that you had to account for every time you played West Springfield.
Adam, anything to add to the analysis of our guy, Louis Joncom?
Not much. John did a pretty good job breaking it down. Lewis was first team All-Region, second team All-State. 6'8", 6'9". He was the team's leading scorer, averaged just over 14 a game. He's got a really, really high motor. He's a great rebounder. One thing I really like is how vocal he is, defensively in particular. He's always talking to his teammates, and he's just a great teammate, it seems like.
All right, speaking of great teammates, I got some great teammates in studio joining me today. I've got John Roetman of the Connection newspapers and Adam Ayalew of Vantage Hoops. We're talking all about the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge. We've already revealed the rosters earlier in the show, but now we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of it all as we shift gears here to talk about our Prince William rosters. Let's go ahead and take a look at that roster. I'm going to read through it real quick, and then we'll talk about a few of these guys. Rashawn Bean, Jerry Carter, Garrett Cook, Thailand Crawford, Jeremiah Delaney, Jeff Gordon, good to see, Life After NASCAR, Zach Hinton, Blake Pagan, Cameron Robinson, Brian Ruffin, Keaton Simmons, Brian Smith, and Karan White. A lot of great players to talk about here. So let's jump right into it. Keaton Simmons has a guy, Adam, that just had a really good season, a force to be dealt with. He's one of our 29 Niner players to watch.
Yeah, Keaton just started off this season on an incredible tear. First scrimmage, I believe he scored over 35 points. And from then on, he just took over. He averaged over 25, around 25 a game, made 63 threes, got to the line over 100 times, I think about 130 times. He's really, really crafty. Probably one of the most skilled and best scoring guards in the state. He's scored 46 in an overtime game against the Osborne late in the year. He's still unsigned, but there's a bunch of schools who are currently touting him. Like I said, he's a really explosive guard and really crafty. He can handle the ball, he can get in the paint. So I would imagine a lot of schools are knocking at his door right now.
Absolutely. Great player out of Stonewall Jackson, 25 points a game. One of our 29 Diner players to watch. Up next, a guy that made a name for himself this year, Blake Pagan, really jumped and exploded out onto the scene. One of our players to watch. Adam, what do you see out of Blake?
Blake was first team All-Region this year and second team All-State for Battlefield. He was good for about a double-double pretty much every night. He was among the leading scorers on the team, super relentless, super tough. He's improved skill-wise. He does a great job getting to the basket. He's a very unselfish player. He's underrated passing-wise. I think he was a big part of their team and the team's success this year. He's about 6'4". He can play multiple different positions. He can defend a bunch of different positions. And he's also a real high academic kid, so really big fan of Blake's game and what he's done this year and all his career at Battlefield. He's a great player.
Next up, Thailand Crawford, another player to watch out of that Prince William area. Adam, you're the man. Take it away.
Thailand was first team All-Region, 6A South. He was second team All-State. He led Hilton in scoring, another pretty balanced team, but he averaged a little over 15 a game. Thailand is a very strong, physical, downhill type player. He does a great job in the open court, finishes very efficiently around the basket. He's another kid who's being touted because he's locally by a bunch of schools of all different levels. He's got a great GPA. I think he's over a 3.5. So another kid who does well on the court and in the classroom.
Fantastic. That will do it for our Prince William roster. Let's take one more look at our Prince William roster here for the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge. So that does it, guys, for all of the talent that's going to be playing in the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge, which is coming up April 10th at Marshall High School. There's going to be a developmental clinic for the top 40 boys and top 40 girls, hosted by Evolution Basketball from 9 to 12. Following that, there will be 2 all-star games, a 3-point contest, and a dunk contest. So we're really excited about this event. Hope you guys will come out and join us for that event and be part of the media festivities that we'll be doing for that event as well. I want to thank you guys for coming in and joining us in studio. And before we head out, we want you to know at home that you're going to get a chance to actually watch the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge live at DMVStream.com. It's free. You can watch it on your phone, computer, any other mobile device globally live that day, as well as replayed with our relationships for television at Fairfax Public Access and on Red Apple 21, which is available in a few million homes. Our team at DMVStream.com got a chance to broadcast the WCAC Championship live from American University. We will do the exact same type of broadcast on April 10th for Marshall High School. Here's a behind-the-scenes video of that team in action showing you just how we'll produce the DMVStream.com Nova Challenge. Guys, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Two longtime rivals collide tonight here at American University as the top-seeded St. John's Cadets face the second-seeded DeMatha Stags in the WCAC Championship. Hello, basketball fans. I'm Jeremy Huber, joined by the big man, Junior Burrow, the former UVA star. And Junior, you gotta love it. Tonight we've got one heck of a matchup. You look down the list, not a lot separates these teams. Referees don't call it, and fittingly, Cowan's going to dribble it out, and you see him come on the court as St. John's is your 2016 WCAC champions, and they get the win as Anthony Cowan goes off by himself. He deserves it, gets the game ball. He wanted nothing to do with that scrum. He just has to be out there holding that ball.
Hey, easy out there. Goodness gracious.